Hey Cupies, it's Ms. Schmidl. I'm here to teach you how to annotate or mark up a text with the Kami app. We're going to be using the text Students Sue for the Right to Learn Civics, which is an assignment here in our Friday, September 11th folder. So when you go into our folder, you'll see this icon right here that looks like a newspaper to me with a pencil. That is the code or the symbol that Schoology uses to mean an assignment. So you'll click on that. And much like a Google Drive assignment, it will come up with two buttons. But instead of having a Google Drive assignment, it will have an open with assignment with Kami. You want to click on this because if you click on the PDF version, you can see the text, but you won't be able to do anything with it. And the purpose of annotating is being able to mark it up. So I'm going to go ahead and open the assignment with Kami. Since we added the extension on Wednesday, it should automatically log me in, and it also makes a copy of it into my Google Drive. Some things that I like to do when I get ready to do a reading in Kami is I like to turn on the sidebar, the toggle sidebar, so it will look like this and you can see all the pages of the text. You will also see these little numbers. That means how many markings you've already made on your paper. So the first thing I do after I've set up my text is I start to add numbers for the different paragraphs. And so the way I do that is I just click on text, I click the size I want and the color I want, so I'm going to choose purple, and then I just click where I want it to type. So 6, paragraph 6, I click here, paragraph 7, paragraph 8, paragraph 9, paragraph 10. Oops, 10. And then you can move these if you didn't get them exactly where you want and you're a perfectionist, like I am. You can move it up so it looks a little bit better. Okay. The second thing I like to do, so I would go through and I would mark all these paragraphs. I would count them all. So if I would go through fast, I would see 11. I'm going to still count that 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 paragraphs. So you guys need to go through and number your paragraphs. If you want to pause me while you do that, go ahead and pause me now. All right, the second thing that I do after I've numbered my paragraphs is I'm going to add a text box, but I want this one to be bigger. And so I'm going to go here and I'm going to do 18 point. I'm going to do red. And I like to put the purpose or the essential question of why I'm reading, up at the top. So we're reading this text because we're looking at the idea of who should decide what students learn. So who should decide what students learn? So this article is about students who sued for their right to learn civics. And as you guys read it, you're thinking about, do you agree or disagree with education being a fundamental right? And then who gets to choose what students learn? So I'm going to put this question, who should decide what students learn, up here at the top, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here because I like it big. Big old writing at the top so that I know what I'm looking for as I'm highlighting. Oh, got kids putting on my Padlet. Okay. The next feature I really like is you can look up words or you can have them read to you. So for instance, I can highlight this and I can click text to speech. And it should be reading it to you. It might not work on my sound today. So it should have read it to you. It might not have had sound to it on my computer or on this video because you have to have a different upgrade on the Screencast-O-Matic to get it to record sound. But either way, it should have read it to you. The other thing I like to do is if I see words that I don't know, like for instance, when I was reading, if I didn't know this word constitutional, it likes to read to me. If I don't know this word constitutional, I can click dictionary and I can highlight the word and then it will tell me what it means. Then I can type the definition here so I remember it. Because if you looked up a word and didn't know it, you probably need to mark that in your text. The other way that you can do that is you can highlight the word. Oh, come on, computer. Let's move this up a little bit. You can highlight the word and add a comment. So then I could say relating to national laws. Okay, same thing here. If I knew the word federal, I could look up the word federal with my dictionary. Federal. Oops, I didn't get it all. Federal. Having a relationship to a system of government in which several states. So federal, another way of thinking that is our national government. So federal, the national government. So like you've heard about the feds, that's the national government. Okay. There's also the word plaintiff. So I can highlight the word plaintiff and I can go to dictionary and it's going to tell me what plaintiff. I'm sorry, you have to highlight it first. It says a person who brings a case against another in law. So then I'm going to comment person who is suing. Okay. So those help me remember so I can do my comments there. Okay. Then I'm going to start to read. And as I read, I'm going to mark up my text. And the way I could do that is I could highlight. So I have my highlighters down here. Or so there's like highlighters, there's box highlighters, or I can do comments. I'm going to choose to highlight and I'm going to choose green. Okay. So it says, okay, so first let's go back to the question. Who should decide what students learn? So I'm going to read the first couple paragraphs with you and we're going to look for evidence. On December 5th, 2019, a federal judge began considering whether students have a constitutional right to a public education that prepares them for civic life. The matter has deep implications for the future of democracy. Dozens of teenagers crammed the gallery of the U.S. District Court in Providence, Rhode Island. The lead plaintiff on the lawsuit was Alita Cook, a recent graduate of Providence High School. 14 named plaintiffs, both students and parents, filed a class action lawsuit, Cook versus Raimondo, against Governor Gina Raimondo and the other state officials last year. It argues that Rhode Island violates students' constitutional rights. Many have been left without the skills needed to prepare for American citizenship. I'm going to highlight that. So this whole case was that these students felt they didn't get a right to education. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a comment or text box there. Why did I highlight that? I need to explain to myself why. Because I kind of like thinking in colors. I'm going to choose green to explain my evidence. So I'm going to put my text box here and say, I highlight this because the students, oops, I'll show you how to fix that in a second, felt the need to sue because they wanted to learn civics. Okay, so this, see how it made it all crazy? I can make it smaller. And then sometimes if you readjust your box, it'll make it fit there. And then I can go back to my colors now and make that green. Oops, I have to highlight it. Now let's make it green. You guys are not going to have any confidence in me, but you see, we all make mistakes. Well, we'll just have to let that be red. The biggest thing is when you highlight something as evidence, you want to put on a note to yourself, why did you highlight that? Otherwise, you're just coloring. The case goes to the heart of the relationship between education and the success of the American experiment. Then it has a quote here from Cook. I did not learn my voting rights through school, Cook says, nor was I taught about the balancing roles of the three branches of government. Instead, the gaps in our civics education were filled by a youth activist group. Okay, so then you're going to go through and read this. So what steps I want you guys to take on this article is that I want you to number your paragraphs. Any words that you don't know, I want you to put a comment with your definition of them using the dictionary tool. Then whatever you highlight, you either need to put a text box, or the more efficient way, I think, after you saw my struggles, was to add a comment with why you highlighted that. So I could have easily just highlighted this section here with, oops, see what I mean? We'll all figure this out together. I could have highlighted this, oops, and put a comment and said, the students felt the need to sue. So I put a comment that says the students felt the need to sue, so they were prepared for their future. Okay, so I personally think the comments on the side are easier to do, and then the highlighting, you guys figure out what you like doing the best. So by the end of submitting this text, you should have your paragraphs numbered, words defined that you did not know, highlighting, and then a comment or text box below the highlighting that explains why did you highlight that. Okay. After you're done doing this assignment, you'll submit it just like you would a Google Doc assignment. So there will be a button in this thing that says submit. And then that signals to Miss Yargis and I that you are done working. We can see as you work, but we need to have the submit button hit so that we know that you're done. After you finish this, you're going to go back into our folder for today. And you're going to use the evidence that you pulled out from the article to respond in this discussion board. So do you agree or disagree that education is not a fundamental right? Why? Who should decide what is included in a student's education? So use evidence from the text to support your answer. So you're pulling examples of what this lawsuit was about and what did they say about education. I hope this helps you. If you need help, just let Miss Yargis and I know, and we can Zoom with you if you need us to today. All right, thank you guys so much.